Hey everybody, this is Helena speaking. Hi. Let me just do something with this little baby. It's a beautiful day, and it's an important day for us to talk about a really important topic that I've been pronouncing since last week, and now today is the perfect day for this topic to reveal itself, right? Or I will do it for you. So Facebook on my computer said that I don't have the necessary updates to do the live, so we're doing this on my mobile. These beautiful flowers there. What I meant when I said, yeah, that's better, that I wish I had someone like me at my side back then, like several years ago, right? When I was still struggling with grocery payments, and I had like the lowest self-worth issues ever, right? Like it was like my lowest moment in my life, right? And I have done major transformation work at that lowest point in my life, after a breakup, kind of going out of the several years of relationship, going on my own with my daughter, building up, like in a key moment, kind of like building up the business, and also, facing a lot of like family drama and, non-existing family support issues and stuff like that, right? So how to fix that? Like, because so many people who approaches me, they're like, I want to change, I want to transform, like what is the key? And, I work specifically only with women on this issue, and then with some men who have like mother wound issues too, right? And they're like, so why do I feel like, one day I'm on the top of the world, I'm like, I can manifest anything I put my mind on, and then in the next moment, I feel unworthy, I feel enraged, I feel irrationally frustrated, and in the loop of, I'm, like I cannot do anything, right? Like, and I'm lost and I need help and, I need guidance, and right? So what is really happening there, right? So hi, those of you who don't know me, hi Jerzy and hi Danila. I am Helena, I come from Slovenia. I have been a coach and now a mentor for the last 3-4 years. I'm specialized in quantum leaps and in the mother wound treatment, right? So first, I want to clarify, what it means and how I perceive the mother wound and how, I approach the work, the process with my clients, and why they have results of like, quantum leaps in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, like going from, 1,400 for like 4 months packages to 20K for 3 months packages, right? So it's not about the money, but it's about the value, the worth, the work, the process, the spiritual gifts, the strategy, the tangible, the intangible that we put into that. Okay. So for me, the mother wound, it's not just the mother-daughter relationship issues, right? It's that too, and it's something where we begin the work and the processing from, because it's usually most painful, most present, most tangible, something that we can speak to and address directly. And the mother wound, otherwise, it's more like it's bigger. It's of a much bigger nature, and it's kind of like the core of the female power, right? Or disempowerment. Okay, so it's what makes you feel disempowered, and it's not your own story, it's not your own experience even, it's not your own thoughts even, right? But it deeply influences how you think, how you feel, how you behave, how you act, what kind of decisions are you making or not making, okay? How you earn, how you talk, how you love, how you have and handle relationships, okay? It's all influenced by, the way you are influenced or not influenced, but mostly people are quite influenced by the mother wound, because we live in this society where patriarchy has done, its contribution, right? So it touches all levels of the female. You can say it's the female energy, if you will, right? Or you can say like the women, right? Her emotional, mental, physical, financial body, if you will, right? And it's not just the present, like the right now, it's not the present situation, but it's like it touches all levels, right? And it touches also, like it touches the lineage back, and it touches the lineage, forth, right? So ancestors, and then, our own children, and, their children and children, right? So that's why it's so important. And you can be that key element of doing the work, of processing those heavy emotions, of processing those, heavy situations, frustrations, of processing those ideas that you hold around your family system, and then your society where you live, and then, your country, or, the world, or, how you, us, like how the interpretations that we have been given are not necessarily the ones that are serving us, right? So what we do basically is kind of like we change the interpretation of your story so that you are freer, and you feel more empowered, and you feel more also entitled to create your own story, okay? So what it does, it reflects, the imbalance that is happening in the world in terms of power positioning and wealth creation, right? And we can talk about men and women, right? But in my world, that's more like energies, polarities, right? It's that, right? So harmonizing that, right? And also what keeps so many, like one of the more important things is like also what keeps so many deeply disconnected and, utterly frustrated, and so like always, even after amazing success and, major leaps, unsatisfied, is like what so many, 99% of my clients have been experiencing. If they fail to connect that with their spiritual gifts, like if they, keep resisting, or if the fear is too big, or if they cannot, comprehend that there is, like, of course, the spiritual world, that it's bigger than, this physical world ever will be, right? And if they, if they have failed to incorporate that, there's always going to be this like something major, something important, something of key value is missing in their process. And so their clients are also always going to be kind of like not really having the results that they could be having, not really experiencing, the well-being, the abundance, right? So we were disconnected. Hey guys, lovely that you're here. If any questions, just type in, okay? It's also for the men. I've done processes with the men too, but it is very, very specific for the females too. And I've seen females, ladies, take bigger leaps than men, for some reason. So, the clients that come to me, right? They're not at, premium levels necessary, right? But I help them, to kind of take their passion and creativity and what they're like really burning for, right? And to merge that with, high ticket sales, which results in quantum leaps, of course, in their income, right? And in their confidence, and in their, like, the way they perceive themselves, the self-image they have, when they look themselves in the mirror, the way they feel about themselves inside, that alters in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days with hypnosis. It just alters, and it just, like, they start living a new story, right? A new story inside of themselves. So specifically, one of the things that we do, that it's kind of major for them, it's like going from being busy into being productive, right? Like a major, trap for many, many entrepreneurs, right? And for many business owners. Like including, when you start including your, the gifts that are still hidden and that you are not aware of, and you don't know how to use them, you don't know like how to implement your intuition. You have it, it's somewhere there, but you're not sure. So you kind of, you hold your, you don't talk about it, you don't include that in your sessions, you don't use it as your like business tool, right? So it's basically means that you're only, using like the mental plane, the intelligence, right? That you're kind of relying on levels that are, that are very limited, okay? And so the results can be only limited with your clients. So once you start like acknowledging and then using the hidden gifts, right? It's a very specific process that we go through. and skills that you didn't even know that you have, right? But it's like once you start being aware of them, like you realize that this is exactly what your kind of like sacred desire and like burning like in your heart was like all along, and as long as you could remember, and you're like, yeah, that was that missing link. Like, can I really do this with my clients? And like, yeah, that's like what you're here for. Like, this is your purpose. This is your meaning. This is why you are here, right? Not just that, like it's going to evolve. Like, you with your personal growth evolve. We all do, right? And your work evolves like every, 3 months, 6 months, a year. Like it changes, it evolves, it becomes mature, richer, more empowering, right? So, but, for example, because, I'm talking about very specific results in this live, right? We can take this process that, my New York client, had this year and a little bit of last year. Like she went from, being, overbooked, over-delivering, working a lot, worrying a lot. There was a lot of frustration around, her work. And, she was putting a lot of time, marketing and positioning and like being present on all kinds of social medias, right? And, she was frustrated at the end of the day because, the amount of money she got out of it, didn't really, equalize, the amount of time that she was putting in, right? So she kept feeling frustrated and as if something is missing, like I'm missing something. I'm not where I could be. I know that I could be in a bigger, higher, better place with less stress, more time on my hands for myself, for my health, for my well-being, and with better clients, okay? And so, we went with her, she was charging 1,400, so that's 1,400 for 3 months process with her client at the time. So we went to, she went to 11,000 package, right? She created a package and, with my help, of course, in that process, where she would include so much more of the intangible, right? Like of what she was already doing, what she was already working with the clients. But it was just hard to put the words on. So, when it's difficult to put the words on, then it's, difficult to charge for it, right? So we did that, like we did all the, the heavy lifting, right? So we came to, the first major leap was, having that 11K package, right? For 4 months, right? And she sold that, in 90 days with a very unique creative twist to it, So she basically became... and she realized that and, was encouraged to realize that, of course, right? She, kind of just erased the whole competition, right? And started like with that, like she designed her unique package that serves, her whole spectrum at a time and, the exact client that she wanted to work with, right? And, she got that sale, obviously. So from there, she's a badass, right? So I only work with badasses. And from there, she went into in the next 30 days, right? She went to a 20K package, right? If that was the desire, that was that was like the burning in it. So a new, more, even deeper, more intense, more holistic, right? Package she created for a very special, like VIP, star clients. And she sold that in 30 days, right? So you have somebody who goes from, like she basically leaped 3 times in a very short period of time, like in 90 days and then 60 days, and now again, is leaping, right? So it becomes a constant process of growth. And in the meantime, of course, it's like it gets super uncomfortable when it's like another investment or the work that needs to be done. Resistance comes up, right? Like all the old beliefs and processes are, telling you like, no, like you need to rest or you need to go and party or you need to like just sleep for a month or, there's like, nobody's going to buy this, like all the, the old conditioning comes up, like, right? It's, of course, it would be weird if it didn't, right? So we just, tackled that with humor, with hypnosis. Like it's the most elegant and like the easiest, the smoothest way that I've seen. It's even better than like NLP coaching in that sense, that just like, ease out that resistance so it becomes really smooth and then has like no positioning anymore in her life, obviously. it doesn't mean it doesn't come up anymore, right? But it means that it's seen and it's felt in a different way. And for authenticity, for people who need to feel aligned, for people who need to feel that they're like, doing something from the purpose, from the mission, who need to feel that they're like, standing in the rightness of it, right? For those kind of people, the creatives, the therapists, the healers, the people who sell their service, right? It's 1,000%, like they need to be spot on in that feeling, feel good about what they're selling, because otherwise there's zero sales coming through, okay? So not only that, then this client, and she's not the first one, but this client specifically had her own clients, right? So not just my client, but my client's clients started having, which is all, it's a part of my process, right? They started having their own premium sales, 3K, 6K, right? Up leveling their own packages, like, really good work, right? So you can see how it kind of goes like all the way, and it makes, it goes circular, right? It's not linear. It goes in the circle and it comes back, okay? So as long as everybody's willing to do the work, there's no issues there, and whatever comes up, we handle that. Like we have tools, we have systems, we have gifts, and we have skills to handle that. So the why behind all this, right? Like why do people have leaps, and why do people have desires, and like why do people have go from 1,400 to 20K packages? Like why couldn't she just do that on her own, right? Well, first of all, she didn't know she has it in her to do that, okay? So she needed that kind of new self-awareness and new image, like self-image, right? And then it gets easier and easier, because when you're like desiring to leap into a whole new experience, like up-leveling your business, or when you want to up-level your relationship, or your love life, or your dating life, or your sex life, whatever, right? Like you have to believe that you're being worthy of that experience. It's a new experience, and first, like you need to feel like you're being worthy of that new experience to ease out the resistance to it. Because once you have this like kind of like new experience for the first time, there's always going to be some resistance. It's just the law, right? It's kind of like when you push the ball into the water, it just kind of pops out, right? So you can just kind of expect that and be wise about it, So every time that resistance comes up, we deal with that, okay? But really, when it comes to quantum leaps, and it can, like I work very holistically with my clients, so it's health issues, it's relationship issues, like it all comes up also, of course, as, success, wealth, money, of course, because we're building a business, right? But it's very holistic. Like we look at every, little piece of that puzzle, and, we balance them out, right? They help each other. Okay, you cannot just work on one muscle and expect that, your whole body will be, functioning and beautiful and healthy and vibrant, right? You have to deal with like the whole system, like the whole body, the whole house, okay? So it's a process and it takes time, right? And of course, the clients, like in that moment when we're building the momentum, it's so important that, or when, major decisions are being made, like it's so important. There's like, as little resistance as possible, and that their whole being is on board with this new idea. Like, yeah, let's do this, right? Like, it's not just possible, but it's kind of like, it's normal, of course. Like this is already done, it's happening. It's not some woohoo, right? Like if I could do it, you can do it. It's that kind of like, it's very down to earth kind of a process, okay? And it's not partial, it's very whole, it's very holistic. And, the client's body, intellect, mind, spirit, soul, whatever you want to call that, right? Everything needs to be on board. And they say like, yes, like I want this new experience. And that's the momentum we need. That's the momentum that we're seeking. Then I know it's there. Like it's just gonna be there. It's really a matter of like, time, day, a night, right? And that night it's gonna get really heavy with doubt and everything, right? But I know it, like the momentum, it's just there, okay? And the client is of course on a really good ride towards the success. successful experience, new experience, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one, okay? So it's kind of like building a momentum, yeah? So what we do is like we come to that momentum with this major detox treatments, like of the mother wound, right? Like all of the, addressing your mother issues is one of the first, and of course like the major thing, right? That's kind of the basic, right? Like the mother story, the family story, the relationship in that family, the relationship in that family towards spirituality, towards money, towards God, women, men, worth, confidence, success, wealth, visibility, what was allowed, what was not allowed, okay? What was, seen as nice, what was not seen as nice, and stepping out of those kind of boundaries and, limitations and perceived, boxes in order to, for the person to be able to take risks and to allow herself to stand out, right? And, besides that, of course, we address all of the lack issues, the money issues, the worth issues, relationship issues, right? Anxiety issues, like you name it, okay? Because all of that is like, it's like a disease, like it's only a symptom, it's not the cause, right? The cause is somewhere completely else, okay? And I can say that, all of my clients, they begin with like a heavy, difficult, like they have this heavy life story behind them, okay? It can be, a story of abuse. It can be a story of, a really difficult child like growing up, childhood issues. And what we do so that they can, start building this momentum and recreate themselves, right, is kind of like I help them to reframe that part of, what is holding them back, what is, keeping them small, what is keeping them like, oh, I can't express myself, like my throat is just not allowing it, or like, focus issues, right? Like, I can focus to a certain time, but then everything goes blurry, or depression, or, anxiety, or anger issues, okay? They all have their own reasons, very solid reasons, right? Once those reasons and are being addressed, properly and named properly, then the person can, start breathing. Then the person can start have this kind of expanded understanding that it's not just focused on, the self, but, it begins to be focused like on something else outside of the self. And then it can start serve others. And through the service to the others, you can actually start to, profit from your problems. Okay, and you become a really, really good mentor, full of empathy, full of understanding, and with like this deep, deep quality to your being, so that you can, with your tangible process and also with the intangible process, with like what I do for my clients is I work on the transference of faith and belief, from me to them. Like you could call it a treatment or a prayer, or the work that I do, for them, so that they can experience their, leap faster. And then besides that, we do the tangible work. We do the process, we do the writings, we do the stories, we do, the marketing, we do hypnosis, we do, NLP coaching, like we do whatever we need to do so that the client can have that leap as smoothly as, as possible, right? So with that, in my language, we access your subconscious, we deal with your conscious mind, and then we also, of course, add a lot of the superconscious, because that's where the vision is, that's where the ideas that, pull us, forward are, that's where your purpose is. And if you are not clear, if you're not in touch with the purpose, if you're not like living that, daily kind of like tapping into that, then of course your life is going to feel, meaningless, and it's going to feel empty, and it's going to feel like, why am I here, right? Like, it doesn't make sense, right? So that is it's like super, super important. Yeah? So we build a momentum and we create a new story, a new reality, if you will, for the client, right? So this is kind of like manifestation on demand, but in a much like more, it's very guided process, and it's very supportive, like it's very feminine, it's very soft, And it's kind of like, you know, in the more tangible way, it prepares you for your, let's say, you know, multi 6 figures, multi 7 figures, for the pressure, you know, for the pressure of success, if you will, right? Because a lot of people has issues because of the family story, because of the upbringing, because of the society, because of the patriarchy, right? With the whole, you know, ceiling idea, and then with the whole yo-yo movements, right? And with the, you know, I want to be, you know, I want to be known, I want to be recognized, but I don't want to be visible, I don't want to be vulnerable, I don't want to, you know, expose myself to critique or to other people or to, you know, people judging me, right? Like all of that, like, you know, needs proper understanding, and often needs like just a different perspective, right? So that you can see it as a challenge, as something good, as something worth of your time and energy, right? And, you know, so the stories like, you know, new books and new events, new programs, healings, growth, new experiences can, you know, take place, right? Because somebody needs to be there to hold that space, and that somebody is always going to be you, okay? I just help you hold your space and, you know, clean up all the, you know, all the mess that it's not supposed to be there, so that you have the opportunity to create your own art, to create your own, you know, like magnificent creation of whatever you desire, really, because your desire is what, you know, what guides the whole process, okay? So we have the tangible, intangible parts, right? And, you know, there's people who go from, you know, we have clients who go from, they collapse their yearly income in 90 days or 100 days, right? So it really depends where your focus is. If your focus is on growing the business, you know, leaping, and, you know, high ticket sales, it's like awesome. Then we focus on that, and, you know, we go from where you're at, right? But we always address the mother wound, because the mother wound is what, you know, it influences the way you feel about things and how you think about things, right? So when that is, you know, distorted, you cannot basically make those sales or leaps, or, you know, until that distortion is, you know, dealt with, right? And healed, obviously. So with all that, it's of course not just possible, but it's just as organic as, like, you know, the leap that people have, like in my process, they're like, you know, on the 29th day or the 30th day, like I just know it, like it's coming. I see the signs and I'm like, you know, the leap is coming, your next sale is coming, your first sale is coming, your, you know, next client is coming, right? And it's like, it becomes as natural, you know, you can expect it. It's kind of like, it becomes as, you know, as natural as the law of gravity, okay? So, you know, then the more we, you know, spend time in that space, and the more we allow that momentum to, you know, become part of our new life and new story, right? You can imagine what all is possible, okay? So, I hope this was like my, I don't know, not first, but like first this year live, so I'm not like super skilled on it. So if you have any questions, you know, I'll be happy to take them here or in my, you know, in my inbox, so we can have a real conversation. I'm always open for that. And if not, just, you know, thank you for today, and you can leave your questions here or private, in my private messages.